society, the second Indian to be admitted. And at the age of 31, Baba was the youngest, one of the youngest among youngest among the fellows of the Royal Society, this in the Royal Society. On 13 October 1918, he was the first Indian to be elected as fellow of Trinity College, Cambridge. Here we have the last letter to Hardy. Ramanujan had numerous health problems throughout life, he was a pure vegetarian, could not adjust to weather, could not adjust to food. His health was something to be. He was diagnosed with tuberculosis and severe vitamin deficiency and confined to a sanatorium. On March 27, 1919, after recovering a bit, he reached Bombay by ship. Despite his poor health, he continued to do research. On January 12, 1920, he wrote the following letter to Hardy, and that proved the last letter. Quote, I'm extremely sorry for not writing you. I discovered very interesting functions recently which I call mock theta functions. And of course, it was a long letter. I am sending you with this letter some examples, and mock theta functions later on have had many applications to elliptic curves, to the theory of black holes. Physicists know that better. And so he was working till his last day. On 26th April 1920, Ramanujan left for his heavenly abode. He is immortal through his more than 3,900 results, which are identities, some are formula. Mm, and but his most of his results, most of his papers are being plumbed even till today for finding more secrets about research. I will end introduction to Ramanujan with a quote from Freeman Dyson, a famous physicist, theoretical physicist and mathematician based at Princeton University. He said, quote, that was wonderful thing about Ramanujan. He discovered so much, and yet he left so much more in his garden for other people to discover. I have intermittently been coming back to Ramanujan's garden. Every time when I come back, I find fresh flowers blooming. So leave this book and I come back to the today's lecture. According to several eminent mathematicians, one of the best known number theorists from India to follow in the tradition of Ramanujan is Professor Sardam Chawla. A brief introduction of whom has already been given by Professor Grover. Professor Chawla did his graduation and post-graduation from Government College, Lahore. He rose to be an eminent mathematician and is regarded as nucleator of the Punjab School of Mathematics. His first paper was published in 1925 in the Journal of Indian Math Society. That I came to know through Professor Grover when he gave a lecture in our department on November 2, 2025. Incidentally, 1925 is also the birth year of one of the 20th century leading mathematicians, Professor Ram Prakash Bamba from our university. Professor Bamba was initiated into research by Professor Chawla at Government College, Lahore again. After serving Punjab University from 1952 onwards in various positions, Professor Bamba departed from us on 26 May 2025. A couple of months before he was an enthusiastic teacher. Besides being a dedicated researcher, he was an enthusiastic teacher, a well-known educationist, and an able administrator. I'm lucky to be one of his favorite students. Today's speaker, Dr. Kath, will tell you more about the extraordinary life and legacy of Professor Bamba. And Professor Kath will take you to a journey of 100 years of Punjab School of Mathematics. I'm sure you will all enjoy Kath's lecture. I have known Dr. Kath since 2001 when he joined the Department of Mathematics, Punjab University as a BSc student, honor school student. He's one of the best students I've ever taught in my long career spanning over almost 5 decades. He puts his heart and soul in anything he takes up. Now it's turn of Professor Gath, Dr. Kiel. Over to Dr. Kiel. Thank you, Professor Sudesh Kaur, for those interesting snippets from Ramanujan's life. And before we start the lecture itself, I would request Professor K.K. Bhasin, who is president of the local chapter, which is now extended Chandigarh chapter of NASI. Professor Bhasin will introduce the speaker. Professor Bhasin.
Thank you very much. I'm really thrilled Professor Khanduja has painted on a very nice canvas the story of a very big mathematician. I'm sorry I didn't know it earlier. It was very nice to listen a very brief the story of Raman. I think you have already mentioned about Professor Singh. Professor Singh is basically a renowned mathematician, but I would just like to spell out something about Dr. Kant. Dr. Kant is presently Chairman, Department of Mathematics, Punjab University, Chandigarh. He doesn't need any introduction. As Dr. Khanduja has already mentioned, he was one of the most brightest students. So I just would like to make a mention that Dr. Kant has got a wide experience as a faculty member of Punjab University and Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. He started his original teaching career in IIT Mumbai. Dr. Kant did his BSc Honours School with distinction and ranked first in 2004, and Masters with Honours School with distinction again with rank 1 in 2006. He completed his PhD on real analysis from IIT Mumbai in 2012. Dr. Kant has authored a number of research papers in journals of national and international repute with very high impact factor. Apart from his popular articles, the most interesting feature I had just seen from his career that he loves to write in Punjabi. I hardly find any person, I mean, particularly of our age group, who writes in Hindi or Punjabi. But I was very happy to learn that he writes his articles preferably in Punjabi. That's salute to you, sir. And he is author of several celebrated books as well. His recent book chapter was published in World Scientific in 2025. He's honored with numerous awards and scholarships. He has traveled extensively and attended several conferences nationally as well as internationally. Dr. Kant is actually involved in another feature I would just like to mention in theater as a writer, director, as well as an actor. I hardly find any teacher who has got such all big accomplishments as Dr. Kant has. He's deeply in tune with a variety of additional things, music, movies, and literature. And in the last, I would just like to mention, he is a recognized poet as well. So you can imagine the versatility he has. So I don't take much time, and I just request Dr. Kant to start his lecture, to take his lecture. Dr. Kant.
Point to point. Full screen, हाँ, कर रहे हैं. Thank you. Uh, Hello. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, first of all, I would like to thank all of you present here, my colleagues, my students, my teachers, and all fellows of National Academies. Thank you very much for being here, sparing your time to listen to me and to the legacy of Punjab. I would particularly like to thank the organizers who gave me this chance to be here in front of you. And thank you for the wonderful introduction. I would like to clarify that I'm not a recognized poet. Poetry is my passion. And similarly, theatre had been my passion during my student days. After that, I did not get engaged in that much extensively. So just a little clarification. So thank you all. And so let me start with this presentation, 100 Years of Punjab School of Mathematics. So as told by Professor Khanduja, that actually the idea of having such a presentation and a detailed article on Punjab School of Mathematics. So this emerged during a talk at my department last year in April by Professor Arun Grover when he gave a talk on 20th century scientists in Punjab. So in that talk, so he discussed extensively about various renowned scientists uh, from Punjab. Actually, the Punjab here is the northwestern region of this Indian subcontinent, I would say. Before partition, it was not only the Punjab before partition, but it was not the current Punjab, not even the Punjab after Indian partition, but much before that. 100 years old Punjab. So he gave a very detailed and uh, very thorough presentation of 20th century scientists on Punjab. And there he mentioned that this Professor Chawla's first research paper was published in 1925. And the department had already planned to uh, organize a conference in the honor of Professor Bamba on his 100th birthday on 30th of September 2025. So 2 centuries were converging that last year. So during the discussion in that talk, so it was decided that we will work on it and publish an article, particularly for the Spectrum Tribune. And then so from there, this journey started, and as it is said, कि मरीज़ इश्क पर रहमत खुदा की मर्ज बढ़ता गया ज्यों-ज्यों दवा की. So that led to the newspaper article and then the detailed article, and then I'm here with this presentation before you. So let us start. So as told you just now that so this 2025 was the unique coincidence of centenaries in the history of Punjab School of Mathematics, the birth centenary of Professor Ram Prakash Bamba, and the centenary of the first research paper from Punjab School of Mathematics by Sarab Daman Chawla, its nucleator. So yeah, we were planning to have the conference on Professor Bamba's birthday, but he just passed 4 months before his 100th birthday, and what we were expecting to have to be the conference we were expecting to conduct along with him. So that was done in his memory, but his legacy is with us. So yeah, so the continuity and influence of Punjab school was, these were documented with scholarly precision by Purbi Mukherjee in this book, Research Schools on Number Theory in India. And it formally positioned the Punjab School of Mathematics on the global map next to the Ramanujan South Indian School of Mathematics. So this is the table of contents of the book. And as you can see, the second chapter is devoted to Indian schools of research on number theory. First one is South Indian School of Research, and the second was Punjab School of Research. So only three schools have been outlined here. Third one is TIFR School of Number Theory. So so this book appeared in, this was published in 2020 by Springer, and so it detailed out various intricate details of these three legendary mathematicians. Along with these three, it also covers the works of various other mathematicians of Punjab School of Mathematics, particularly Professor Rajinderjeet Hansgill, Professor Sudesh Kaur Khanduja, Professor Madhuraka, Professor Pranami, and many others. So, but this talk will be focused only to discuss a glimpse of the contributions and mainly the life of these three mathematicians. So, Punjab School of Mathematics now is not limited to any particular geographical region, or so it is basically now spread all over the globe. And if we have to discuss even the main milestones of Punjab School Mathematics, even then 10 presentations are not even enough. So we have a lot of great mathematicians currently, like Professor Rajendra Bhatia, Professor Ajit Iqbal Singh, and a lot of people. So I'm not discussing any of them. So I will be focusing only on these. So, and only on the life of these three and their main, the highlights of their career. So this will be a very uh, so this will not contain any technicalities of mathematics. Only a few little ideas which could be delivered to a general audience will be discussed here. So Sarabdaman Chawla, the nucleus of the Punjab School. So So the nucleator of the Punjab School at Lahore was Sarabdaman Singh Chawla, commonly known as Sarabdaman Chawla or Sarvi, whom the Wikipedia describes as England-born American mathematician of Indian origin. Actually, Sarvi was born in 1907 in England due to Mrs. Shakuntala and Pai Gopal Singh Chawla, MA Mathematics. And he was working then so he was a faculty at Government College Lahore. But when Sarvi was born, he was on a 2-year study leave to Trinity College, Cambridge. So for 1906 to 1908. So that's why, and later Chawla, after partition, he moved to US. So that's why he's known as England-born Indian American mathematician of Indian origin. Yeah. So Gopal Singh Chawla was among the first group of Indians to study abroad under a scheme introduced after the Indian Universities Act of 1904. And Punjab University still continues to function under a variant of that same 1904 Act. Gopal Singh Chawla was appointed as a professor of mathematics at Government College Lahore in 1910. And in 1924, during his BA, Sarvi's name appeared in the Journal of Indian Mathematical Society, GIMS, for the first time when he asked a question, a brief question in that, a research question indeed. But his first research paper was published in 1925. And during 2 years of span, 1925 to 26, he published 8 papers, published 18 papers till 29 and 34 papers till 31. So, and that included solutions to many of the problems that already had appeared in that journal by his principal Hemraj Gupta of the Dayal Singh College, Lahore, or some other South Indian mathematicians, including Ramanujan. So, and Survey completed his MA from Government College Lahore in 1928, and immediately after completing the MA, Survey along with his father Gopal Singh Chawla, they participated in the annual meeting of Indian Mathematical Society, and then in 1929, Survey was admitted to Trinity College, affiliated to University of Cambridge for his PhD. So, yeah. So while he was traveling to Cambridge in December 29, so his father Gopal Singh Chawla, so he's come to pneumonia, and so that was a tragedy at the beginning of his career. And but Gopal Singh completed his Sarvadaman Chawla completed his PhD under the guidance of J.E. Littlewood at Trinity College with the title Contributions to the Analytical Theory of Numbers. This is Government College Lahore in 1880, where his father was a faculty, and this is Trinity College, Cambridge. So these pics have been taken from Wikipedia. So Survey's housemate at Cambridge was the Lahore-born Subramaniam Chandrasekhar, the nephew of would-be Nobel laureate Sir C.V. Raman. And Chawla and Chandrasekhar, they maintained a lifelong correspondence with each other. In service, so Chandrasekhar's PhD supervisor was Fowler, with whom Homi Bhabha and Daulat Singh Kothari also did their PhD after Chandrasekhar. So they were all well connected, and we will see that how this Kothari, Chawla, Bamba, so they all remained connected throughout their lives, and they assisted each other in their profession, in their research and other things. This Lee and Yang, these were the only two students in a graduate course taught by Chandrasekhar at University of Chicago, and both of these students won Nobel Prize in 1957, whereas Chandrasekhar got the Nobel Prize in 1983 for the ideas he had propagated in 1930s at Cambridge. And in 1934, Chawla and Chandrasekhar, they became founding members of the Indian Academy of Sciences, and later they both were awarded Padma Bhushan. So early teaching appointments of Chawla. On returning to India in 1931, Chawla joined St. Stephen's College, Delhi, making his first teaching appointment. And in Delhi, he married Himani Majumdar, sister of political activists Sucheta Majumdar, Sucheta Kriplani later, and the first woman chief minister of Uttar Pradesh. And in 2 years, just a year later, he moved to Banaras Hindu University as a lecturer on mathematics on the invitation of Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya. And at BHU, Chawla interacted with the young Andre Weil, who was later a central figure in the 20th century mathematics and a founder of the Bohr-Bharti group in the West. So Chandrasekhar was offered a position at Andhra University, Voltaire in 1933 by its second Vice Chancellor, Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, who became the President of India in 1962. Chandrasekhar actually had been offered this position earlier, but he declined and he proposed Chawla for it. So Chawla got this position at Andhra University. And during his 2 years stay over there till 35, he served as a reader and head of the department. And then he returned to Lahore as a professor in 1934 and in 1936. And in 1939, Chawla was inducted into the Indian Education Service. He co-authored various papers with his student C.R. Rao, whom he taught PG courses at Andhra University, Voltaire. And this Rao, so he had a lot of awards like Sarvadaman Bhatnagar Award in 63 and Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan also. Chawla's younger brother Inder Chawla collaborated with him in number theory and earned a PhD at Cambridge under Helbron in 1942. But so he had untimely death in 1943, cut short a promising mathematical career of a young mathematician. Chawla's daughter Promita Chawla also completed PhD with yeah. So with Chawla itself, so Chawla gave 2 PhD to his family members, so which is now very rare, and I don't think it is allowed anywhere globally. So at that time it was a norm, and maybe because of a lot of other reasons. So his daughter and his brother, they both had PhD with him, and at University of Colorado. So Promita Chawla had PhD in 1961. And she served as a faculty in the Department of Mathematics at Penn State University in 63 until her from 63 to her retirement in 1992. So in July 1947, Chawla left Lahore, assisted by his wife's sister Sucheta Kriplani, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, later Chief Minister, as I mentioned earlier. And Chawla sought academic positions in India, applied for a senior fellowship of the National Institute of Sciences, but that was in vain. Even though he had a lot of recommendations by distinguished mathematicians like Hardy, Littlewood, Mordell, Davenport, but he failed to secure a position in independent India. So post-independent, actually India had very few faculty positions, and even Delhi University lacked an independent mathematics department. So most of the mathematics students of Government College Lahore, so they were switching to physics because I'll come to that later. So at DU, they joined in the physics department and shifted their career to physics. In 1948, Chawla moved to Institute of Advanced Study at Princeton. So this is the recommendation by Littlewood, where he explicitly says that in any case, in my opinion, easily the most promising Indian mathematician Cambridge has had since the war. So basically, he's saying that Chawla was the most promising mathematician in India after Ramanujan, since the war means since that World War. So global recognition and enduring legacy. At Institute of Advanced Studies, Chawla worked with Siegel, Selberg, Erdos, Turin, and he later held positions at the University of Kansas, University of Colorado. He served Pennsylvania State University from 63 to 76, and during 1925 to 1986, he authored 350 papers, guided 25 students. He is known for various formulas, to his name, like Chawla-Selberg formula, the Mia-Chawla formula, etc. And his collected works were published in 1999 that span 3 volumes, 1417 pages, tracing a journey that began in Lahore classrooms and ended on the world's mathematical stage. So Ayub written an article with few others where he mentions that one of the best known number theorists from India to follow the tradition of Ramanujan, Chawla's fertile and creative imagination earned him the epithet poet of mathematics among his contemporaries. Selberg notes that despite little exercise, and actually he was mentioning that the hardships that Chawla had gone through in the later years of his life. So in his note, he mentions how his whole life had been in a lot of struggles, particularly during partition and then getting settled in the West, and even then the later years of his career. So, but he was determined enough, and as he mentioned, that beneath his outlook there was hidden the makings of a Sikh. So there is a lot of detail in this note by Selberg. I'll mention this in the references section. So notable students and collaborators at Lahore. So Fakir Chand Aulak, Fakir Chand Kohli, Hansraj Gupta, Ram Prakash Bamba, Rajkumar Talwar, Jagdish Chandra Bose, Mahinder Raj, Abdul Salam. These were a few notable students and collaborators of Chawla at Lahore. So I'll be giving a little glimpse of all of these, and later on I'll discuss in detail about the 2 students and leading mathematicians of the last century from Punjab, Hansraj Gupta and Professor Bamba. So before those details, let me quickly sum up the others. So anyway, in 1945, Bamba topped MA in mathematics examination with unbeatable 600 by 600. Salam published a solution to Ramanujan's problem, which was posed to him in class by Chawla. So Chawla has this habit that he used to put the unsolved problems which appeared in research journals, particularly a Journal of Indian Mathematical Society. So he used to put those problems to his students. And as Bamba told that many times it was all in vain, but sometimes unexpectedly, for example, Salam solved a problem which was posed by Ramanujan and given by Chawla. So this was pointed out by Professor Bamba in his interview. So Salam later won Nobel Prize in Physics. Kohli and Bamba both later received Padma Bhushan. Bamba later became Vice Chancellor of Panjab University and served here from 1984 to 91. So the first research scholar, research student of Professor Chawla at Lahore was F.C. Aulak, Fakir Chand Aulak. So he topped MA mathematics examination in 1934 and taught mathematical physics at the PG level. And under Chawla's guidance, Aulak published several papers in number theory. While at PU and Dayal Singh College, Lahore, Aulak interacted with P.K. Kishlu, Kothari, the students of Meghnad Saha. He began research in astrophysics and statistical physics at Lahore, and on Kothari's invitation, Aulak joined Delhi University in 1942 in the physics department, as I mentioned earlier. So, and he earned a PhD in physics and DSc in mathematics in 1945. So, notable students and contributions beyond academia from the Lahore School of Mathematics. F.C. Kohli, he was awarded with Padma Bhushan in 2002. He co-founded Tata Consultancy Services and served as its first CEO and also known as the father of Indian software industry. Rajkumar Talwar became chairman of State Bank of India. And there are a lot of legendary stories about Talwar during the emergency. So I won't go into that detail. Yeah. Jagdish Chandra Luthar, he served as a deputy governor of RBI in 1977. Mahendra Raj emerged as one of India's most celebrated structural engineers, designing iconic buildings such as Usha Kiran at Mumbai, Hall of Nations at Pragati Maidan, New Delhi, Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, and the Salarjung Museum at Hyderabad, and also collaborating with the Le Corbusier on the planning of Chandigarh. So this is a photograph from early 1940s of Chawla and his students. So he's seated, Chawla seated in the middle. So this is the photograph of Hall of Nations at Pragati Maidan, New Delhi. And I read an interview by Mahendra Raj where he mentioned that this was the most ambitious plan of Mahendra Raj during his entire career as a structural engineer. And he mentioned that this building had a lot of technical joints, and particularly a small joint in which 7 to 12, 13 members had to meet. And each member had 4 bars. So 28 bars had to pass through a small place, so small space. So he mentioned this as the most difficult and most ambitious project of himself during his entire career. But unfortunately, this Hall of Nations, so this was demolished by the government in 2017, and there was a protest against it by a lot of NGOs, particularly organizations of architects from India as well as abroad. But unfortunately, it is no more there. So Hansraj Gupta was another legendary mathematician of the Punjab school who worked mostly in isolation at Government College Hoshiarpur, and he was working on the problems which many times had been earlier known, solved by some other mathematicians. Sometimes he gave independent different proofs, those were published, but sometimes in vain. And also at his workplace, Sharpur, so there were no nearby libraries, and that was an intermediate college. Still, he was working on some fundamentals in number theory, and he was traveling extensively to Lahore to visit libraries at Lahore and meet other mathematicians over there, particularly Chawla. And he was a student of Hemraj for PhD. He submitted his PhD with Hemraj. So first PhD with Hemraj, and Hemraj himself did not have PhD. Again, contrary to the modern norms. So let me start. So he was born in Rawalpindi, then British India. So now it is in Pakistan. Son of Jatiram Gupta, a petty official in the erstwhile Patiala state, matriculated from University of Punjab, Lahore, intermediate from Mahindra College, Patiala with scholarships. First in MA in 1925 from Mahindra College, Patiala and Dayal Singh College, Lahore. So actually Mahindra College, Patiala, he had his MA first year from Patiala, MCP, and there was no arrangement for teaching over there. So that saved his 1 year, and then he moved on to Dayal Singh College, Lahore for the second year. And that's why he had the second division in MA. So otherwise, I think there was no reason that he would have this division. And but so he was this even this did not stop his enthusiasm. So to the young students, I would like to say that. So even if you are stuck in some kind of crisis due to the circumstances which are not in your hand, so you should not lose heart. So, so Hansraj Gupta, so he continued his passion and particularly influenced by his principal Pandit Hemraj, a noted number theorist. So he started working on some problems, and so he submitted a PhD under the guidance of Hemraj. So I was reading an article about Hansraj Gupta, and there I read this story. So sometimes, so as Hemraj mentions that sometimes during 1929 to 30, a student asked him that in how many ways can 4 mangoes be distributed among 4 persons when there is no restriction to the number of mangoes any of them may receive. So it looks like a simple question on permutation combination. The student had already approached another teacher, and they treated all the mangoes as distinct, and the answer was 4 power 4, 256. So, but this did not match the answer given in the book. So the student consulted Professor Gupta, and Professor Gupta treated the mangoes as identical and then solved the question and then obtained the correct answer. And as he later recalls that here the student's problem ended, but mine had begun. So this is an interesting story, and let me explain how it happened. So for this purpose, he has to consider partitions of 4. So there are 5 ways 4 identical mangoes can be distributed to 4 people. Either all mangoes to 1 person, all 4. So there are 4 options because there are 4 distinct people, and or 3 mangoes to 1, 1 to another. So then there are 12 possibilities because you give 3 mangoes to any one of them, and then there are 3 left. So 1 to the rest of them. So 4 into 3, 12. 2 mangoes to 2 persons. So this is 6, 2 to 1, and 1 to 2. So this is again 12, and 1 mango to each person, that is 1. So total possible number of possibilities this way are 35. So that way Chawla has to consider, Hansraj Gupta had to consider partitions of 4, and so this led to his work on partition theory, a branch of number theory. And he not only 4, so he listed up number of partitions for various numbers up till a very big number, and he published those partition tables. So, and his partition tables were used by Chawla, to disprove a conjecture of Ramanujan. In 1934, Chawla used his partition table to prove the Ramanujan's conjecture, which says that the number of partitions of 243 should be divisible by 7 power 3. So actually, it's a consequence of the Ramanujan's conjecture, not the conjecture itself. So the conjecture concludes this, but this is not true, and that was realized by Chawla using Hansraj Gupta's partition tables. And in fact, Chawla asked a student to manually calculate all the partitions of 243 and verify the number, whether it exactly matched the number given by Hansraj Gupta. And this is a very big number, more than trillions. Okay, it is 1033. It is 1339 trillion. So more than that, in fact. So yeah. So it's a very big number. So more than a trillion, in fact. This Ramanujan's conjecture was then modified by Watson and Atkin. Another milestone by Chawla at his young age in 1923 was the calendar. So Gupta made 100 years old calendar, which was exhibited in a royal exhibition at London in 1923. So this was published at Samana, Patiala in British India, and this is the calendar. So using this calendar, you can check the day of any day. So the formula is very simple. So these are, is it visible? No, not that. Okay. So I will share these slides, whosoever wants these, so you can check it later, and I can provide these JPGs particularly separately also. So you can drop me a message. So if anybody needs that. So these tables were published and then exhibited in London, for which Gupta was awarded a medal also. And it's an interesting idea, I guess. So it should be actually given to high school students. And once you are given these tables, it is not difficult to make out that why these tables work. But still, how could anybody think of this without anything given at hand at that young age, and in spite of limited resources and awareness around him? So that's I think, big thing. Yeah. So Gupta joined Government Intermediate College, Hoshiarpur in 1928. And as told earlier, that there were limited facilities at Hoshiarpur, which forced infrequent trips to Lahore libraries. And Gupta worked mostly in small towns with limited access to libraries and other collaborators, researchers. He was unaware of the contemporary work and independently pursued partition problems. Punjab University's first PhD in mathematics was awarded to Professor Hansraj Gupta in 1936, and his thesis was examined by Hardy and Littlewood. He was granted special permission to submit a handwritten thesis due to his exceptionally neat handwriting, almost like typed script. And he was promoted to Punjab Education Service, Class 2 officer in 1945, Class 1 officer in 1954. So this is a click from his notebook at Dayal Singh College. So where you can see his handwriting. So it's a very neat handwriting. They're almost like a typewriter. So that's why he got that permission. After partition, Government College Hoshiarpur became Degree College, and it was taken over by Punjab University. Hansraj was appointed professor in the Department of Mathematics, which was shifted to Chandigarh in 1958. And here he worked alongside Professor R.P. Bamba and I.S. Luther. And under their leadership, the Department of Mathematics at Punjab University, Chandigarh became the UGC's first center for advanced study. Hansraj retired in 1966 and later served as an honorary professor in the Department of Mathematics. Over 6 decades, Gupta authored 190 research papers, out of which 70 were on partitions, 6 books or monographs, and collaborated with 16 mathematicians. So next we'll discuss about Professor Bamba, also known as an institution builder. He was the son of Pagat Ram Bamba, a railway guard who rose to the chief yard master, and his mother Lajpati, although she was not formally educated, so she learned Punjabi and basic arithmetic calculation at a Gurudwara school, as told by Professor Bamba in an interview published by Bhavna magazine. So, Professor Bamba, so as I mentioned at the beginning of the talk, that we were planning to celebrate his 100th birthday along with him, but destiny had some other plans, and he passed away just 4 months short of his 100th birthday. So, although he is no longer with us, his scholarship and institutional vision continue to guide the Punjab School of Mathematics. So in 1945, Bamba topped MA examination with unbeatable 600 by 600. In the aftermath of World War, a moratorium on government hirings in Punjab constrained academic appointments. In the late 1945, Chawla arranged a stopgap teaching position or a temporary teaching position for Bamba at Government College Sharpur, where Hansraj was the head of mathematics. And Gupta's generosity forged a lifelong personal and academic bond. As told by Professor Bamba, so when he went to Sharpur, and he just went there without any plans, and he was offered a position immediately. So he said that I have no belongings and I need to arrange for that. But Gupta said, you need not worry about that. He asked him to stay at his home and even lent him his shirts. He stayed there for 3 months on that temporary position, and then we know the history. So whatever happened outside classrooms, whatever happens outside papers. So I think sometimes that matters the most. So this is what I feel like this is there in the life of Professor Chawla, Bamba, Hansraj, and many other luminaries of our department. The way they were connected with each other, the way they were connected with the younger generation, the way they encouraged younger people. And particularly Professor Bamba used to say that younger people are better than us. So they can see, they stand on our shoulders, and so they have a better vision than us. So instead of being jealous, we should work with them. So these were the words of Professor Bamba just a few years before he passed away. So 3 months later, Bamba joined Chawla as a research assistant at Government College, Lahore. And Chawla introduced Bamba to Ramanujan's tau function. Actually, Ramanujan had given some talks in India during 1936 to 40, and Chawla was highly motivated by those talks, and particularly the Ramanujan's tau function. So he introduced that to Bamba, and together they published 15 joint papers during April 1946 to February 1947. So out of these 15, 10 papers had 3-4 other collaborators also. In 1947, Bamba was brought to Delhi University as a research fellow by D.S. Kothari to fill a position temporarily vacated by F.C. Aulak and funded by National Institute of Science of India, now known as Indian National Science Academy. In 1948, Bamba received 1851 exhibition scholarship recommended by Kothari and Aulak. And from 48 to 50, he completed his PhD at University of Cambridge under the supervision of Model. In 51, he published 4 papers from his thesis, extending the results of Minkowski model during the golden age of geometry of numbers. And from 52 to 55, he was an elected fellow of St. John's College, Cambridge, and the same as earlier, Dr. Abdul Salam was also an elected fellow of the same college. In early 1950s, Bamba collaborated with Davenport, Rogers, and Roth, who is a field medalist, who won field medalist, who is a field medalist. So in 1952, Bamba was appointed as a reader at Punjab University, Hoshiarpur, and concurrently offered a membership at the Institute of Advanced Study, Princeton. And for 2 years, he was granted a special leave by the Vice Chancellor of Punjab University then, and he spent 2 years in the US engaging with leading mathematicians at Princeton, and returned to Hoshiarpur in 1954, began teaching MA classes over there alongside Hansraj Gupta, initiating a formative academic partnership. And from 1957 to 58, on leave at University of he joined this University of Notre Dame, and he strengthened his international ties over there. And then he came back to Punjab University in 58, and till 63, he worked with Professor Gupta and Luther to build a strong research department under the emerging UGC schemes. The department was chosen as the first Center for Advanced Study, CAS, by UGC in 1963, and the first regional center of NBHM in 1983. Research contributions of Professor Bamba. So he made various foundational contributions to number theory, geometry of numbers, and the theory of lattice coverings, particularly on the Minkowski's conjecture. Actually, he played a central role in advancing the work on Minkowski's conjecture along with his students, Rajendrajit Hanskil, Professor Madhuraka, and their students. So with V.C. Dumir and R.J. Hanskil, Bamba worked on non-homogeneous quadratic forms and covering problems. He authored 70 papers and appointed emeritus professorship in PU in 1993. So these are some positions and distinctions that Bamba received. Vice Chancellor of Punjab University during 1984 to 91, during the tough times at this region, and President of Indian Mathematical Society in 1969, President of Mathematical Section of ISCA in 1963, Vice President INSA, UGC National Fellow, Fellow of INSA, Indian Academy of Sciences, National Academy of Sciences, and the World Academy of Sciences. And he was awarded Doctor of Science, earlier written as SCD, and this Doctor of Science honoris causa by Punjab University in 2016. He won Ramanujan's Medal by INSA, Distinguished Service Award by Mathematical Association of India, Meghnad Saha Award by UGC, Padam Bhushan, Ramanujan Memorial Award by Indian Mathematical Society, Ramanujan Birth Centenary Award by ISCA, Jawaharlal Nehru Birth Centenary Lecture Award by ISCA, Aryabhatta Medal by INSA, and Doctor of Science, honoris causa by Punjab University. So this last section of this presentation is about the influence of these 3 legendary mathematicians on the Punjab school. And it's again a very small glimpse of the legacy. And as mentioned at the beginning, I'm not covering everything. I have not covered even a single current faculty member of the department. So as I told that, it is not limited to Punjab, the current Punjab or the current Punjab University. But since these are related to Professor Bamba and Gupta and their collaborators, so I'm mentioning these, a little glimpse of all of these. So Inder Singh Luther, he contributed broadly to number theory with his PhD students, particularly Professor Parnami, S.K. Khanduja, and Professor Bhandari. So they served as long-standing faculty of the department. Inderbir Singh Pasi authored a celebrated 4-volume textbook series on groups, rings, modules, and fields. Rajwade made major contributions on algebraic number theory, elliptic curves, cyclotomy, and sums of squares. Professor Rajendrajit Hansgill, she had BA MA from Government College Ludhiana and worked under the supervision of Professor Bamba in her PhD. So that time Bamba was at US at Ohio State University, and Professor Hansgill, Professor VC Dumir, and Stish, one other, right? Stish Bhatnagar, I'm forgetting that name. Agarwal, yeah, Bas Agarwal. So they three of the students, they went along with Professor Bamba, and they completed PhD along with him at Ohio State University. And Professor Gill worked in number theory, geometry of numbers, packing and covering problems, non-homogeneous quadratic forms, and a conjecture of Watson. She won Srinivasa Ramanujan Medal of ISCA in 2010, DSc honoris causa in 2025. And she is a fellow of all three major Academy of Sciences and TOAS. Professor Sudesh Kaur Khanduja, she topped Punjab University in all her years of BA, MA, and she is a PhD from Punjab University under Professor Luther. And she worked in algebraic number theory, function field theory, and valuation theory. She won various awards, including Srinivasa Ramanujan Medal Award by INSA, Srinivasa Lecture Award by IMS, Professor V.V. Nariklar Lecture Award by INSA, Haryana Vigyan Ratna Award by Government of Haryana. And she also is a fellow of all three National Academies of Sciences, INSA, IS, NASI, and the World Academy of Science. Professor Madhuraka is a student of Professor Rajendrajit Hansgill. He had PhD with Professor Gill in 1979. She made various foundational contributions to geometry of numbers and algebraic coding theory. She resolved important cases of Minkowski's conjecture and with n equal to even 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that has been resolved by Professor Madhuraka along with her students. The earlier cases had been resolved by Professor Bamba, her contemporaries, his collaborators, and Professor Gill. So till n equal to 10 case was recently resolved by Professor Madhuraka and her student Litika. And she's a fellow of National Academy of Sciences India and NASI Senior Scientist Platinum Jubilee Fellow at PU. So, enduring legacy that continues to inspire. The centenary of the Punjab School of Mathematics coinciding with the birth centenary of R.P. Bamba offers a rare moment of reflection and celebration in the annals of mathematics. The pioneering work, collaborations with global luminaries, and mentorship of future generations laid the groundwork for a rich mathematical culture. Four mathematicians from Panjab University won the CSIR Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Prize in Mathematics, particularly Professor S.K. Trehan, Professor Pasi, Professor Malik, Professor Shore. And 5 mathematicians from Punjab University have been the presidents of Indian Mathematical Society: Professor Gupta, Professor Bamba, Professor Pasi, Professor Agarwal, and Professor Madhuraka recently. Living traditions and celebrations. To honor the legacy of Professor Saradaman Chawla, Punjab University instituted the annual Saradaman Chawla Memorial Lecture in 2015 on the 90th birthday of Professor Ram Prakash Bamba. The inaugural lecture of the same was delivered by the field medalist Professor Manjul Bhargava. And this lecture series continues to inspire and guide young researchers in mathematics. The mathematics department block is named Hansraj Gupta Hall and PU International Guest House honors Saradaman Chawla. So since September 30th, 2025, the auditorium at Department of Mathematics has been named as Professor R.P. Bamba Auditorium. The department organized an international conference on algebra and number theory to commemorate the birth centenary of Professor R.P. Bamba. The conference featured 12 distinguished speakers from India and abroad and attracted over 120 participants. So it was a big event, and we still have reflections of this conference and the legacy that was discussed over there and whatever I have studied in the past 1 year as a chairperson of the department, so that continues to inspire us. So institutions endure when ideas are nurtured, and ideas endure when generations are inspired. So that is my final takeaway from how this. Thank you.
On our own legacy and to state my friends. And we have just a short time for. So anybody would like to ask a question or a comment? Nice to see nice bright teeth at the back.
I would like to have questions from youngsters, particularly students of this university. Any kind of question is most welcome. Or comments. Thank you for this wonderful question, I would say. Actually, as I discussed in the presentation, that even with Professor Hansraj Gupta, so he was enrolled in MA, and for 1 year there was no arrangement of PG. Okay, and then he had second year from some other college, and his life was full of struggles, but he did not give up his passion. That is a takeaway. So whatever the circumstances you have, whatever is happening around you, you should definitely address that and try to rectify as far as possible. But in all that struggle, you should never get distressed. You should never get discouraged. You should keep on your passion, and you should try to change the things, whatever is in your hands, and with all the sources that you can. I actually remember a book by Professor Bhanga. So then he says that if a teacher wants to teach, nobody can stop. But if a teacher does not want to teach, nobody can stop. Keep working hard, looking for the good stuff. And one should definitely not try and cram mathematics. Cramming is crime actually.
So thank you for
showing the reference in the link. Yeah, these are the references. This is a highlighter. Like so, so this highlighter है?
Highlighter.
ले लो. Okay.
ये जी.
Yeah.
Here.
So this is the
Sir,
first.
Here,
first
Professor Kent.
Yeah, this is the article which I mentioned. The quote which I just told you, it is from this article. It's a wonderful interview of Professor Bamba, actually. So everyone, anybody interested in mathematics should read this whole article. It's a wonderful article. So, okay. So one quote was taken from Ayub's article published in Notices American Mathematical Society. Okay, this is the question which appeared in first question of Chawla, which appeared in Journal of Mathematical Society. And collected the tables, the calendars which I have shown, those are taken from collected papers of Professor Anand Gupta. Volume. Huh? Okay. So this. Okay, in this article I have just mentioned with the talk. So during the conference, I authored this article, Psychological Reflections on the Life of Professor R.P. Bamba. So this also mentions a lot of interesting anecdotes. So this is a recent paper by Professor Madhura and equal to 10 case for genealogy world. Yeah, this is the letter which I was mentioning at the beginning when I was discussing about Chawla, the letter by Selberg, at Selberg. So it is available online. So there he is mentioning all the struggles that Chawla has to go through in his career, particularly during partition. And then after partition, he had to settle at US, that how he struggled, the financial struggles, immediately moving to US, and even during the later years of his life. So these are all the references. The collected work is mentioned like yeah. So this is itself